Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Devils United. We're back again with another review show. And let's just say, we have won the game 1-0 against Bournemouth. A first half strike from Casemiro. What a quality strike that was, first of all. And that has now secured us Champions League football as our horrible rivals, people, is currently losing against Aston Villa. Good evening to everybody. So let's go into the chat. Hey there, Sophia. Hope you're well. Thanks for coming in. We certainly have got the 3 points. Good evening, Statman. Hope you're well. Thanks for coming in. Up the cherries. Yep, up the cherries. To be honest, they're a nice side, Bournemouth. I don't mind the team. I don't mind them in general. So, I think they're all right, to be fair. Hey there, Endsman. Hope you're well. Time for you to lose, Man United. Well, thanks for the lovely jinx, Endsman. Let's just say big up to yourself as well. Hey there, Rather. Hope you're well. Coming in like Prime Steve Bruce. Well, that's a first. I don't know what way to really take that, to be honest, Rather. I'm only kidding. Congratulations for making top 4 in Champions League. Thank you very much. Very happy with that indeed. Big up, people. Big up, Luca. Hope you're well. Man United won. Liverpool draw. I'm not sure. Liverpool's drawing. Oh, tell me they're drawing. Oh, Firmino. Oh, I didn't even know. I thought it was still a loss at that moment in time. Oh. Hey there, Reese. Hope you're well. Thanks for coming in. I will go into the game as always. To be honest, we just have to see how it goes on with the Liverpool game. If it's still a 1-1 draw, then I'm not gonna complain. Good game. Hey there, Zoe. Hope you're well. Thanks for coming in. I'm sure mathematically though, Liverpool still can't catch us if we're on. So if it's 1-1, they're going to finish on 69 points if they win the next game. So we've got to win. We've got to win at least one game now, which is either going to be Fulham or Chelsea, or win one, draw one. So if we don't lose both games, we're absolutely fine. I hope you're well, Zoe. Hey there, Twilumbo. Thanks for coming in. Hope that you are well. 1-1. I had no clue before I went on the stream, so I'm literally feeling embarrassed now. Liverpool fans crying like bitches because of that Jota kick off the chest, but forgetting that Jota kicked a Spurs fan in the head. To be fair, even though they did, Oliver Skip was just as bad in that game. In the Spurs game, he also kicked, I think it was Diaz. So, to our Lumber, glad with the win. Sad we couldn't score more. Absolutely. Yes, it's 1-1. Lindelof and Varane solid. They're absolutely brilliant. And I think for me, with Lindelof, he looks a lot more comfortable when Varane is next to him. To be fair, though, no one would look comfortable with Harry Maguire there. 1-1 draw, 10 minutes added. Lindelof was amazing. This game highlighted one thing. Garnacho has to start versus Chelsea. In my opinion, I'm going to say no for Garnacho starting against Chelsea. I think Garnacho is still only very young, and to start Garnacho against a very important game, I think it's a lot of responsibility for him. And I like how it's been doing at the moment where Garnacho is coming on in the 70th minute, causing a lot of threat to the defence. And I think if they're playing a back four with Aspilicueta and whoever's in the centre-backs, I think that is going to be the best option for Garnacho to actually come on as a sub, in my personal opinion. Thoughts of Martial sulking. He's got no reason to sulk. Like, he's been crap all season. He's been injured. And the fact that he wants to sulk, let him go. Because he's crap. He doesn't... If, for instance, right, like, no other top Premier League club would take him. Everyone would avoid him. He has had 7-8 years at this club, and he's only had 1.5 good seasons. Absolute fart. He's crap, and he's got no reason to. He was probably our worst player before he came off. Again, he's lazy. Was wondering how we stop them, so avoiding defeat is enough. Maisy, what do you think of the managers game management today? I felt he was more proactive with the decisions. Yeah, I think the substitutes were very good. I think the starting 11 was very good as well. Overall, I think his game management was great. We are 3 points behind with 1 game in hand, so that's 6 points with. Yes, so we just need to either draw or win. So all we need to do really is to avoid defeat. Because if they win the next game, Liverpool, their final game of the season, and their final game is Southampton, but let's be real, they are going to beat Southampton because Southampton are relegated. They've got nothing to play for. So if they do that, they'll be on level of points with both us and Newcastle. And then both us and Newcastle need to win or draw. So we can't lose either game, to be fair. You might as well start who? Against Chelsea. Reasonable argument. Everton have equalised versus Wolves in 99th minute. Whew. Thoughts on the way you linked up? I think we linked up very well. I will go into the lineup and stuff first of all anyway. Anthony and Sancho were shocking. To be honest, I don't think any of our attacking players were overly good. Garnacho. Yeah, this is the thing though, right? Literally, last review, I probably had about 3 people in this chat saying Garnacho shouldn't start, he's too young, bring him in like we bring in Phil Foden. That's how I do it. But now you want him to start, now people want him to start. What's the point? If Rashford's going to be fully fit again, start Rashford. He scored a third of our goals this season. He's one for scoring against Chelsea. Like that cracking free-kick goal against Chelsea before he got injured. Man United haven't confirmed top 4 as of yet. We just need to avoid defeat in the next 2 games. It doesn't matter though if it's the end of the season. We need to play our best 11 every single game. And Garnacho has been much better coming off the bench this season than starting. After the Chelsea game, play the kids. I think it'll just depend on how we play against Chelsea. If we draw or lose, I'll still put the strongest 11. But we know that Ten Hag wouldn't do the strongest, would not play the kids, I don't think. Liverpool 1-1 full time. Liverpool confirmed. Not yet, Luca. It's just about if for instance us and Newcastle don't win at all our next 2 games, then and Liverpool score so many goals, then that will mean that either one of the 2 will get knocked out. So at the moment they haven't confirmed the 5th. They could still get Champions League. Rashford left wing when he returns, or Rashford through the middle. I think Rashford plays a lot better on the left, but I don't think either Weghorst or Martial's good enough to play. So I'll probably play him in the middle. May's thoughts on how you defended. I think we played very good defensively. Defensively, we was very good. Both Varane and Lindelof was absolutely solid, and they didn't give too much to do for David De Gea. We just need to avoid a draw from Tualumba, absolutely. What happens if United draw Chelsea? It'll mean then that if we draw them win the next game, next 2 games, Liverpool mathematically can't get into the top 4. So it's just about avoiding the defeats now. We just need 1 point in the next 2. Maisy, who starts in midfield when fit and who misses out? Probably the midfield we've got at the moment. Cass, Ericsson and Bruno. I think that's where we've had our best success. With them 3 in the midfield this season. So let's go on to the starting 11. First of all, and I'll quickly go through that. So ignore the scores. So we had De Gea in goal, Wan-Bissaka, Varane, Lindelof, Shaw, Cass, Ericsson, Antony, Fernandes, Sancho, Martial. They was our starting 11. We knew that Rashford did not travel for the game today because Rashi was ill. He did train this week, but he was ill. So we knew that we was going to have the same starting attack-wise. And that was the game where we did win comfortably. The last game that we did play, and literally, I think, who did we play last now? I'm just feeling silly now. So the last game that we did play, which was against Wolves, we actually did have the same attacking lineup. Martial did score that sitter, and then Ganacho scored in injury time. So we did produce the same 11, and we got a win out of it. So I wasn't, knowing that Rashford wasn't there, I was quite happy with this starting 11 lineup. I think it was probably the best lineup we could have done. And then you're looking at the Bournemouth lineup with Neto, Keller, Sensor, Fabani, Smith, Lamar, Cook, Anthony, Christie, Brooks, and Solanke. There is, of course, some threats there of Solanke and Krista. Lamero is quite a threat for the Manchester United squad. But I'm not too familiar with all of the Bournemouth lineup for me to say, this, and this. So I think probably most likely Bournemouth have put their best 11 out. I was quite surprised that Kiefer Moore didn't start, because when they have played that 4-4-2 with Kiefer Moore in the front two, they've also had some great results. So it did look like Kiefer Moore. He did come on as a sub in the second half, because we're seeing here the substitutes for Manchester United today. Also Bournemouth, they had Kiefer Moore, Algata, Vino, and then they've had Sada, Daniel, Chris Metham, Jack Stacey, Jack Stevens, and Mark Travers. And then for Man United, we had Wout Weghorst, Alejandro Garnacho, Fred, Scott McTominay, Palestra, Dallo, Maguire, Malacio, and Jack Butland. I think looking at the bench, it was probably obvious who was going to come on as a sub. We couldn't really see Harry Maguire coming on as a sub, especially knowing that Varane, he actually looks fully fit now from his injury. So he didn't really need to come off. Luke Shaw, it's going to be hard for Luke Shaw to come off. And the same with Aaron Wan-Bissaka in the form they're currently in. I think I would have liked to see Palestra instead of bringing on Scott and Fred and putting Palestri in the same position of what Anthony was in. I think that would have been a great decision, because I think we do need that little bit of oomph. You know, like, if you get what I mean, like, sometimes it just feels like we don't have that bite in us. Sometimes, especially more recently than others, that we have been feeling a bit like dry up top. And I feel like Palestra, he is full of energy, and I think that's something that we have really, really needed. And then you can see here who's injured for Man United. As we already know, Tom Heaton's injured, Phil Jones, Rashford, Martial, Lisiandro, and Donna. And then we've got a couple of injuries there on the Bournemouth side of Marcus Tavernier, Ryan Fredericks, Junior, Traore, and Antony. So I think Marcus Tavernier would have been an interesting one to play for Man United and Ryan Fredericks, because I've heard some very good things about them. So we'll go into the comments, and then we will touch on the first half. Zoe, good to see Scott McTominay back. What I noticed with Scott McTominay when he came on, it looked like Bruno shifted onto the right wing, and then McTominay was playing as a 10 role. And we do know that Scott McTominay was more attacking, especially in his youth days. So that was quite interesting, because he actually nearly scored. He did test the goalkeeper once or twice. Emi Martinez is such a good goalkeeper and a beep house. Do you know, because I was watching Stockport Counter today, before the game came on today, and their goalkeeper, Stockport County, reminds me a little bit of Emi Martinez. Like his posture, his physicality. He just brings that. He just gives me Emi Martinez vibes. So if you haven't watched Stockport County, I really recommend, because I do think they've got a fantastic goalkeeper. Maisy, thoughts on Eric Ten Hag in game management? I think he played very, very well. I mean, Ten Hag for his game management. right substitutes, right times, right starting 11 lineup. So I think he's done well overall. Liverpool bottle 1-1 draw from rather. Oh, bottle it. Good evening. Chelsea have 3 matches to finish. They finish 11th. They can't even finish top 10. Liverpool were crap, but the league shows its strength overall. I thought Bournemouth played too many back passes, but when they went forward, they played very well. Good evening, Daz. I hope you're well. Thanks for coming in. Always great to see you, Daz. The US commentary for saying Arsenal playing 3-4-3 diamond. Arteta thinks he's Cruyff. Mays. So going forward, Luke Shaw. Is Luke Shaw going to be a centre back? No, I don't think Luke Shaw is going to be the centre back. I think the centre back partnership what we've got will be exactly what we're going to be doing. With Lindelof and Varane, just because I think they are working very, very well. Luke Shaw plays a lot better as a left back, and the only reason why Luke Shaw has been playing as centre back when Lissandro's been injured, he's got a broken foot. So I think if there was any more injuries to the centre back lineup, which I kind of hope that we don't, I do think Luke Shaw will go back there. But we've only got 3 more games now this season, 2 in the Premier League and the FA Cup final. So we just need to hope that there isn't any more injuries. You definitely belong in Europa League based on overall performance. Enjoy it. Mace, thoughts on where you dominated the ball? I'd probably say we dominated the ball mostly in defence, just because I think the defence was solid. I wasn't overly impressed with the attacking line or the midfield. I did think that Ericsson and Cass had a great game. I do think they was probably contenders with player of the matches as well as Lindelof and Varane. I'll take a look for them reasons. Lol Mays. Do Man United need midfielders from Luca? Yes, I do think we need midfielders. We need a Casemiro backup. Scott McTominay is supposed to be leaving to Newcastle, so we need a replacement for Scott McTominay. I don't think Donny's good enough to be in the Manchester United team either, so I definitely do think we need a few more midfielders. And that's including if we keep Sabitzer or not. So I'd say one or two I'd say a minimum 2 midfielders. Come on, Mays, how are you gonna do me with the good evening? You know what, rather, I'm gonna do you a nice surprise at the end. Hey there, Sean. Hope you're well. Thanks for coming in. So we'll touch on the first half for Man United. I think Man United was very dominant. The first half, I believe, Bournemouth didn't actually have a shot on goal for 25 minutes. So that was very, very interesting. So it just made it. It just shows that Casemiro, Varane, Lindelof. There was several times where you seen the speed there with Varane, and he managed to get the ball from Bournemouth. Because I know Solanke did cause a couple of problems to the Manchester United defence. Nothing that Varane couldn't really stop. Casemiro's goal was absolutely brilliant. It was a nice little cross there by Ericsson. It didn't get registered for some reason on the Sky Sports app, but it did get registered as another assist there for Ericsson. Still remains as our top assister in the Premier League, which really says a lot considering Ericsson has been injured for quite a lot of the season. Been injured since January. He's only come back a month or two ago. So I do think that Ericsson was very good. He was very calm on the ball. So it was a nice little overhead a little bit, as I would like to say, by Casemiro. I looked at that ball at first. I thought, "Ooh, that was a really nice cross." And then when I looked at it, it's like, did he use his head or did he use his feet? And he kind of curved his body a little bit to get the goal in. I think it was a very dominant display, especially the first half by Man United. Bournemouth was quite quiet. And then when it came, but I think the first half in particular, Man United was great. I think we should have really put in a few more chances. We see Fartiel, he done a couple of shots right at Bournemouth's defence. We've seen as well Anthony. he should have had a goal. I think Sancho was a bit quiet. I still feel like for me with Sancho is that I feel like the shirt is still a little bit heavy on Sancho. Maybe it's because he's trying to lean himself back in, but he can't continue to do that either. At the end of the day, for Jadon Sancho, is that he needs to buckle his ideas very, very quickly. Because if he doesn't buckle his ideas, then he is going to get sold next summer, I personally think. Because we do need to have threats from both the starting 11 and the bench option. And if Jadon Sancho isn't causing any threats, that's quite alarming for me. De Gea, he had a very quiet first half. I think nearer to the end of the first half, he did save one goal, one shot, and that was about it. So it was a very, very quiet first half of De Gea. Lindelof and Varane done the job well. Wan-Bissaka actually had a shot. He was quite high up. He was in the box and he had a shot. So he done quite well, attacking minded and defensive minded. I think he was quite underrated in the game because people think, oh, Casemiro for the goal, Varane for the defence, Lindelof for the defence, Eriksen because he was very calm on the ball. But I think the work that Aaron Wan-Bissaka done for me was very, very underrated in today's game. Let's go into the comments again. Maisy, will Rashford be back against Chelsea? Well, from what I've read, Rashford was only out due to an illness. Because he is coming back from injury, but he has been training this week. And apparently he was meant to come, but he got ill yesterday or the day before, so that stopped him from coming. Luca, would you sign Neves? I think Neves is a great player, but personally, I would rather aim higher than Neves. I think he will be a great option, but I want someone a little bit better. I've seen like James Maddison is linked to Man United. James Maddison will be someone who I'd personally take. I've seen here today. Would you take James Maddison here, pictured in a Manchester United shirt, obviously fake? Would you take James Maddison? Yes, I would take James Maddison. I think James Maddison is a fantastic, fantastic player. And I do think if Leicester are to get relegated, James Maddison will be one of the many who will be leaving that Leicester squad. And I think he is somebody who needs to be there playing as either a backup for Bruno Fernandes or someone who could play next to Bruno Fernandes. And then I know that James Maddison has had a little bit of experience on the wings before. So that would be someone who I would personally take, James Maddison. So let's carry on with the comments. Maisy, thoughts on the way you committed players forward? I don't think the forward players were very, very good today. I don't even think Bruno had a great game, in my opinion. I think it was the defence and the midfield pivot was the ones that kept us in the game and the reason why we won the game. I don't think the forward players were good at all. We won 1-0. Casemiro scored on the 9th minute. Neves would be fine, although I want Ramsey as well. To be honest, Ovis, I can't see us getting Ramsey. As much as I'd like to have Ramsey, I just don't think we would get him. I don't think Villa would sell him, especially if they are going to get into Europa League spot. Man United need McGinn. I don't want McGinn. Isn't even Aston Villa's best midfielder. Like, I would rather take Ramsey. I'd rather take Douglas Luiz before I take McGinn. This isn't like Scottish bias coming out when I say this. Great result, absolutely, Sean. Does Sancho deserve more time? Does he deserve? Right. This is what I'm gonna say. No player, well, no Manchester United men's player deserves more time because the ones who are playing well are the ones who actually are getting game time. And the reason why Sancho is in that starting 11 lineup right now is due to Rashford not being there. Because if Rashford is starting, there'd be no way that that Sancho would be in that starting 11 team. So that's the only reason why he's there. And I've always said, like, for the women's point of view, Bo Visa deserves more time. That's because she's been playing well. But players who are actually on the bench for Manchester United men's team don't deserve to be the starting 11 team either. They don't deserve to start week in, week out. People make cases for Garnacho, but Garnacho's only very young at the moment. People say, like, oh, well, Fred's played good, but Fred's a bit on and off. You want consistency in the team. And right now, Sancho does not deserve time. He does not deserve to be in the starting 11 when everybody's fully fit. Maisy, did you play well? Yeah, I'd say that we did play well. I'm happy with the 3 points for sure. Maisy, do you think your bench was strong enough? I think it was strong enough to put us for a win. But I do think we need to have some more attacking options. But yet again, it's because of injuries. Next season is Sancho's last chance, in my opinion. I've said for too long Sancho should be a rotational 10. Even Ten Hag has said that he's a rotational 10 as well. So we'll just have to see for next season. Hey there, Liam. Hope you're well. Thanks for coming in. Important 3 points. 4th place is half to lose. Absolutely. If we don't get 4th place from now, I will be very, very angry. But I know that Ten Hag has done a lot for the team, and I did predict us 5th. But I will be angry based on how other teams have performed this season. Maddison and Ramsey as 2 midfield signing. I don't think Ramsey's going to happen, so there's no point in me mentioning Ramsey. Maddison, I think it is a potential option, and I would take Maddison. I'd take both, but I don't think Ramsey's happening. May, seeing Raya is available in 24, who you taking? The thing is, De Gea's contract's up in the summer. If we don't extend his contract, which apparently he's declined because he wants more wages because we've offered him 200k, which is still quite high for a goalkeeper, bear in mind. We need to get Raya this season. And if we was to get Raya this season, he's going to be valued around 30 to 40 mil. I would take Raya in a heartbeat for that amount. I'd even be a little bit cheeky. I'd say Dean Henderson or whatever amount, like just so we can get rid of another goalkeeper off the books. If we got him, I'd be well happy. My Wi-Fi cut off many times. It's better now. Good to hear it, Sean. Raya can get in straight away for good value. I think you're right, but if somehow we snagged him from Villa, that would be a bargain. Yeah, it would be a bargain, but the thing is that they're not gonna let him go. If they were gonna let him go, I'd say they're gonna let him go easily 70 mil, just because of the value he brings to that side. And then it's just a matter of would Ramsey want to leave, knowing that he's got them Europa League / Europa Conference League football? And I'd say no, probably not. But them being from Europa League to Europa Conference will all depend on what Brighton do with their games in hand. In terms of the summer transfer window, that's going to be a difficult one because obviously the current situation with the new ownership for Manchester United. Based on if, for instance, we could get anyone, Harry Kane is linked to United, which I'd happily take. I think another one is who I'd happily take as well would be Kim Min-jae. And I'd also take Baku from Wolfsburg. English tax bounces. I really disagree with English tax. If you want me to be honest, I think English tax is one of the most mythical things going. And it does semi-annoy me when I do see it. The reason why I don't think English tax exists, and I've always said, right, players are valued based on what they're worth to the team. They're not valued based on what nationality they are. Look at Ajax. Lissandro 50 million, and then you've got Anthony for 90 million. Anthony is not worth 90 million euros, so and he's not English. So where's that? What that kind of tax is that? Is it Ajax didn't want to let him go tax? Is it this tax? Is it this tax? Is it this tax? People look at Harry Maguire for 80 million. I disagree with that being English tax because Leicester has valued him at that rate because he was valuable for that side. Because you look at that point with Leicester, they were still a competitive top 6 side who was getting into Europa League / Champions League football. So they're never going to let the team, a certain player, go so cheaply, knowing that Man United was so desperate for the player. They are going to bump that value up to see what they can really get out of that. So I've always said English tax for me is a myth. They're going to look at age, worth for the club. So you look at Declan Rice, who's worth 100 million. They're saying it's worth 100 million. He's currently in Europa League Conference League final. He is a captain for he's captain for the West Ham side. He plays in week out for the side. He can play in multiple different positions, and he's only 22, 23. You look and so I do disagree with English tax massively, if you want me to be honest. Mays, which out of the teams make this? I've always said the spy for Manchester United is Bruno Fernandes. You need to build the team around Bruno Fernandes. Who suits Bruno Fernandes? Because when we don't play when the times we have not played Bruno Fernandes, we've lost. He's our only creative source. Even when he doesn't have the best of games, he will still chip in an assist. He will still bring the ball forward. And that's someone who's not playing well. So I've always said, despise Bruno Fernandes, work around Bruno Fernandes and go from there. If Villa qualify for Europa League, they're my favourites to win it. That's very interesting. I think it all depends who get into Europa League for me. Raya, Kim Min-jae, Kane and a midfielder. I'd be happy with that. But I do also think, especially if Dalot is not to extend his contract, we do need a right back. So a right back will be someone who I think we need. I know we're looking at Kim Min-jae, but we need to prioritise that right back role too. Age, contract, importance of worth. Yeah, very true. Very fair point. My one criticism from Liam will be that we don't kill off games, which is always gives the opposition the chance of getting something to work on next season. Absolutely. This is the thing. When we had Ole, we were scoring a lot of goals, but we was also leaking a lot of goals. I know Man United have leaked a fair few goals this season, which has shown that our goal difference is only 11. But when we have leaked goal, when we have conceded, we concede badly. But we've gotten quite a lot of clean sheets under the same breath. If you're going to be looking at these stats from today, which I'm going to get up for you now, Liam. So here it is. Man United had 20 shots on target. 20 shots with 5 shots on target. So that means 1 in 4 shots was a shot on target. And for me, that's quite poor. With the attacking options that we have got of Bruno, Antony, Martial and Sancho, that's nowhere near good enough. With 20 total shots, we should be having more than 5 on target. I'm not going to disrespect Bournemouth when I say this, because I do think they're a great side. I think it's that the attacking sources don't know where to put the ball. Because I think they're missing absolute sitters, all this shooting out the defence. And then you're looking here, Bournemouth, 10 total shots, 4 on target. And you're looking at that and saying you could easily, just under half of their total shots was a shot on target, despite them, of course, not scoring a goal. And that just shows more clinical from the Bournemouth side. Even though they didn't get a goal in this game, comparing the total shots on target compared to the total shots compared to shots on target, and looking at ours, they've been more clinical despite them not getting a goal, if that makes sense. But we had more possession, 59%. I'm actually surprised at this as well, is that we didn't even get a yellow card. There's only 1 yellow card produced in the entire game, which was that foul on Ericsson. But apart from that, no one else got a yellow card. And I think that's quite surprising, playing gas. But I completely agree with your point, Liam. Mays, facts. Sean, nobody wanting to pay expensive money. Absolutely. But the problem is, Sean, is that the market for football now is completely different. It's completely different now compared to what it used to be. Like, you look at all the players we got years ago, like Andy Cole was a record fee, and he was really cheap when you look at it from now and then. And I think that Neymar to PSG was the thing that really broke in this transfer market value, if you want me to be honest. Getting something from the game. Maisy, there has to be more than just Bruno in that team that makes you spat. But that's what it is at this moment in time, rather, because it's if Bruno don't play, the team's weak. And that's why you look at one or two players who's a spine and you build around them. And at this moment in time, the spine is Bruno Fernandes. Did you do a watch along? No, I don't really do watch alongs for the men's game, Sean. Think it's crazy. We could finish on 75 points as third or fourth. It's 2 more points than Ollie's second place, and our most points is Jose second place. That is actually very, very crazy. And to be honest, when you look at that, that also shows how competitive the Premier League has been this season, because you look at the Premier League, ever since Ollie finished second to now, you're getting 90 plus points per season for Liverpool, Manchester City. Arsenal's doing well this season, and they're currently on 81 points. So they could finish off on a total of 81. They could finish off at a total 87 points, which is very high for a Premier League season. A new forward is crucial next season. Absolutely, Liam. We need a striker by a country mile, but the only problem is that the striker does need to provide for themselves, because the wingers that we've got at the moment is very, very greedy. As much as like Rashford's greedy, Anthony's greedy, Martial's greedy, Sancho doesn't even do anything. So we've got very, very greedy wingers who would rather cut in and shoot rather than cross. The only one who would really pass to a striker would be Bruno. Nobody else would do that. And that's why I've said is we need Harry Kane, because he can provide for himself. He can score. He's got fantastic amount of goals. He's Premier League proven. I know he's a bit on the older side, but I'm not going to say he's world class because he hasn't got the mentality for that right now. But I do think he's a fantastic striker. Based on how Harry Kane has been over the years, he's been one of the greatest strikers. He's one of the greatest strikers in the world right now. And you can't even deny or argue with that. And based on that, the only strikers who are better than him right now is Haaland and Lewandowski. That's my personal opinion. Our wingers combined contributing to that more as well. Absolutely, we need selfless wingers. I don't mind them crossing in if needed, but cutting in if needed, but cross the ball or pass the ball. If you can see that there's someone who's clear of that net, pass it to him. And I just think they just try too hard, and it feels like for me is our wingers feel like they're in a bit of competition, especially Anthony and Rashford, where you're like, look here, Martial got a sitter. Look at this here, Bruno's got a sitter. Look, whoever's got more of a sitter, but they'd rather take a posh shot. What's not going to go anywhere? And I think that's really, really greedy. And it's not playing as a team player. And Bruno Fernandes was like that a few years ago, but we didn't have anyone who could, apart from Bruno Fernandes, who would not do a nice goal either. Hey there, I like coffee. Hope you're well. Thanks for coming in. Woo! We're so close to Champions League. Absolutely. Looking forward to the Champions League as well. Will be great. I bet you're looking forward to it being with Newcastle. I'm going to get my passport ready. I've got my passport already ready. I've got a couple of stamps. I would love to do a Champions League game. Like, I would really, really love to do that. But I don't think I'll ever be able to, unfortunately. What do you think about the bans at Old Trafford? What bans? Oh, bans. The bans are at the women's for Old Trafford, and they annoy me so much. we are Manchester United. We make our own noise. And the fact that they want to make a ban for the women's team playing Sweet Caroline is pure disrespect for the fans. Thoughts on the way Man United take and defend set pieces? I think we're not bad at defending set pieces. It's just David De Gea who's not so good at set pieces and corners because he is too close to his box, too close to the net. But apart from that, we defend it very well. In terms of taking it, we could be a bit better. We don't really have so many players who's great in the air. Rashford's a lot better in the air. Casemiro's good in the air. That's probably about it right now. He's quite good in the air. We need players who are better with their heads or can do a long shot if you were going to do a short cross from a corner. Maze, our front line is greedy indeed. Front of our lumber, absolutely. They're everywhere. Very true, very greedy. Hey there, Doug. I hope you're well. Thank you for coming in. The band shouldn't be at Old Trafford. I agree. They loved having the glory to themselves. Exactly to our lumber. They want it to be like you look at like Anthony. If he scored a long shot, they'd be like, Anthony scored a screamer today, like that. You just hear the commentary, but I think he wants to thrive at that. Don't get me wrong. I think Anthony is quite hardworking. He does track back. He's the only one who does. But he has certain qualities to his game that annoy me. Maze, how long will Ten Hag persist with Anthony? We don't have anyone else really who could play on that right-hand side. Sancho Campbell is shocking on the right. So I think it's if we ever got a right winger. Anthony will be key to Ten Hag. He's not stats-based, but people expect him to be. This is the thing. I'm not disliking Anthony based off his stats. Because if you look at his stats at Ajax, they're worse than what they are here. My problem is with Anthony is that he doesn't cross. He gives the ball away very cheaply. And you're looking at players who get a lot of criticism for giving the ball away very cheaply. And he does that. He takes long shots. He misses sitters. Like, when you know you've got a clear shot on target and you're not taking it, it's just them little kind of things. But in terms of defensively, he has improved on that. He's made a great partnership with Wan-Bissaka. But there is a lot of elements to Anthony's game that he does need to work upon. And I think getting that 100% game time, every 100% start at 11 isn't always going to be beneficial for that because he'll think it's okay. Ten Hag loves Anthony. Yeah, I think he does, to be fair. Anthony is our hardest working winger. He just needs to contribute more assists. Do you think Bournemouth will stay up? Bournemouth should be staying up. Based off the Premier League table right now, which I will get up. I'm sure what Craig said, like they can't finish lower than 16th. But if I get it up, so here's the Premier League table as it stands. Bournemouth are sitting on 14th place, 39 points. So they're 38, 39, 37. So then Leeds, for instance, they've got two more games. So they could get a total at 37 points. That's where West Ham is. You've got Everton, who can get a total more of one more point. So that'll put them to 36. They can't catch up. So the only ones who will be able to get higher will be Forest and Bournemouth. So the highest the lowest still finishes in Nottingham Forest's position. So mathematically, they have definitely kept themselves up. Bournemouth are mathematically safe. If players don't do well, they should be benched. I do think the same, Sean. And you look at Malacia, he didn't play well a couple of games, got dropped instantly. But we'll talk about the second half now for the team. I think the second half for Manchester United, we did slack a little bit, I would personally say. We should have really got a few more goals. Anthony again missed a sitter. Bruno Fernandes gave horrific balls away. I know, like, I've always defended Bruno Fernandes, but them balls he gave away was shocking, which nearly led to a Bournemouth goal. I think he really needs to be careful at time to time, because if that was more prolific players, that would have really punished us. I think there was a challenge on Ericsson in the second half, and that was a yellow card. I think that was very rightly a yellow card. I'm surprised Casemiro didn't get a yellow card, especially when he gave the free kick away nearer to the end of the game. But I do think Bournemouth definitely did step up in that second half. And I'm going to bring up as well the momentum for the game. And I think it'll really show in the momentum about Bournemouth, because as much as I think Man United, they was a dominant performances all game, there was more chances for me for Bournemouth coming into this second half. So here is the momentum. So you can see here, Bournemouth had a tiny bit of momentum there in that first half. Then Man United picked it up, which is where that only goal came from Casemiro, which was nice there from Ericsson. And then you can see here it was mostly Manchester United. Same again in that second half. Man United most had that momentum, but they had them little sparks there from when Bruno gave the ball away. And then especially when it came to the last 5 minutes of the game, Bournemouth really went out attacking. Kiefer Moore, he nearly scored. And I think as well that David De Gea in the second half made some fantastic saves. And I think he kept us in. There was a save, what was Kiefer Moore's, and there was another one, I think it was Solanke's, what kept Manchester United in the game, where it was Paul defending and Paul giving the ball away. I think for me is with Bournemouth, I think it is hard to go to, especially for the second half of this season, because Gary O'Neill has done a fantastic job on this Bournemouth side. However, we need to be doing a lot better than the 1-goal win. You're looking at that amount of momentum in that second and first half, and you think, how has there not been more than just 1 goal in there? So, as I say, it's the forward line who's really not producing. But I do think Bournemouth really did step up in that second half, and I do think they did come a lot more. How can I say? They did look more attacking. They look more full of life. I think Gary O'Neill had a lot to say in the dressing room, because they did come out a different Bournemouth, especially in that second half. And then in the last 5 minutes of the game, they did look completely different as well. Question for you, Maisy. From an opposition point of view, what do you think Bournemouth done well and didn't do well? I think for me, they've controlled the midfield quite well. That was one thing that I think Bournemouth done well. Something that they didn't do well though was I don't think they was very good. They was great at absorbing pressure from Manchester United, but they wasn't so well when they was in the final third themselves. The game at Wolves finished 1-1. That means Leeds might go down. Good, let's just say, Sean. Nobody likes Leeds. Andrew, hey there, Andrew. Hope you're well. Thanks for coming in. That should be top 4. Hopefully, we just need a draw now from 2 games, and then we'll be mathematically in. Maisy, Force and Ten Hag being no nonsense when it comes to players' attitudes. Best way to be. We can't. It's kind of one of them where in the last 10 years of football, it's always been player power. And that's really changed, and it's like the managers are your best friends and stuff. It's nice like get along with your manager, but like if you was in an employment, you want a manager who's firm but fair. I do think Ten Hag has been firm at times, and there has been times where he's made mistakes. But if a player is having attitude towards the club, towards the manager, towards training, blah, 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 they need to be punished, because Ollie never done that with all the nonsense that Pogba done. And you look at like Edinson Cavani, like where he picked up loads of injuries, but then he was fine for internationals. That's something that I don't think Ten Hag would allow. Another scrappy win, absolutely, Andrew. We got the ball, we got the 3 points, but I think we could have been just a little bit more, because as I said, we're just missing that bit of oomph in that forward line, which is a bit of a shame, because the quality that you look at, the quality that we've got, the amount we've paid for them players, you expect a lot more. No watch along for Chelsea Arsenal. It is in the afternoon, but the problem is like I'll be leaving quite early to the Manchester United game, because apparently it's supposed to be a sellout. And they've got actually the standing section open, so we need to get like a parking ticket, because it's very hard to get a train, it's very hard to get a bus, so we have to drive, which is crap, to Lee Sport Village. Lindelof played very well. I think Lindelof played well and complimented Varane very well as well. I think for me, there was only one poor game of it to Lindelof this season. Apart from that, I think he's been absolutely outstanding, and he's been there when we've needed him. I've already answered that question when you asked earlier on, rather. Liverpool drew 1-1. That Everton equaliser could be very important for them. Let's see who actually scored for Everton then. So it was Mina scored on the 100th minute. Bloody hell. Yeah, it was a centre back who scored. Typical Dicey, isn't it, really? Congratulations, Chris Welsh. Kyle might be is going to Wembley. That's fantastic as well, because what I've said is I absolutely love underdogs. I love it when the underdogs get something out of it, like Stockport. No one ever expected Stockport to be in the playoffs final when they gave up this season. Kyle, knowing that they was very low in the table last season for League Two, they're going into the by the looks of it. When I'm getting up, I've got Kyle's score up here. They're winning 3-1 at the moment against Bradford. 120th plus 8th minute. Ben Barkley scored 112th minute. Callum Guy scored as well in injury time. So extra time, sorry. So that'll be really, really good for Kyle to get into that playoff final, and 2 underdogs going into playoff final is fantastic. Maze, if we get the needed point against Chelsea, would you play the kids in the final game? Personally, for me, it's a difficult one. We've got no reason to play the kids, because we still got a week's break in between Fulham and the FA Cup final. But the problem is, I think for me, we always need to take every game seriously, and especially when there's a week's break, there's no reason why to play the kids. Because Fulham, they've really shown up in the FA Cup game against us at Old Trafford. So I think for me, we can't really write off Fulham. So I wouldn't play the kids, but I would make some more substitutes. So I would substitute whoever for Palestria. It'd be nice to see Kobe Mano, for instance. Use them as subs. I wouldn't use them to start. Be 1-0 is stressful. I've already answered that. Agreed. Under the radar. Yeah, Jerry Mina scored. Even better was people saying at the start of the season that Eric would sink us because they stay in Holland. The thing is, though, hated, adored, never ignored. That's how I always say with Man United. Me and a goal very lucky and scrappy, but still important. Everton deserve to go down still. From what I've been hearing, like, I was speaking to Craig about Everton. So basically, Everton's currently got that point reduction investigation at the moment. So if, for instance, that Everton was to stay up, they could have a point reduction next season. And if they do have that point reduction due to FFP, then I think they'll definitely go down. But the thing is, if they go down this season, which I would rather Leeds go down than Everton, if that was the case and Everton was to go down, from what I have been reading, the point reduction does not stand in the Championship. So they could absolutely dominate that Championship, just as Burnley did this season, and come back up and won't have that point reduction situation, which is mad, because it's the Premier League who investigated it, not the Championship. Luton, Coventry, Sheffield Wednesday, Barnsley, Carlisle, Stockport, 3 good finals. Absolutely. I think for me, with the Championship playoffs, I think whoever does come up, I think will go straight back down. I don't think either of them are good enough to stay up. Sheffield Wednesday, Barnsley. I'd like to see Sheffield Wednesday. I think they'd be great. And I'm sorry, Chris, because I know Chris will watch this back. I do want Stockport to win. I always say I've got to support the Greater Manchester teams, just me being Manc coming out and stuff. But they have very, very, very good finals, and every single one of them have been underdogs. Gary Neville will be asked today how Salford responds. That will be funny. As a precaution from Twal Lumber. I'd like to see Heaton have a start. He's still injured. I don't know how long he's injured for, bear in mind though. I think I've seen it. But I think Tom Heaton is saying here is injured now for a few more days. So he could potentially be back. Personally though, I'd actually risk Jack Butland. Just because Jack Butland hasn't even started yet for Man United, so I'd give him a little go. See how he gets on. If Luton get promoted, they won't be allowed to play in the Premier League. I've seen news this morning. I don't see why they wouldn't. Maybe, I don't know though. I don't see why they wouldn't though. Sporting United's preparations for City once the prep's done. I think they'll just prep like they normally prep for any other game. I can't see any other reason why not. But the good thing is that we have more injuries then than now than compared to the Carabao Cup finals. So we've got a bit. The problem is that we've got a better opposition. No respect to Newcastle when I say that, because they played well this season. But City's one of the best teams in Europe, so it's still going to be tough regardless of the preparation. Butland, I'd give him a game before he goes to Scotland. Hey there, Hassan's VIR box. I hope you're well. Thanks for coming in. They used to have stricter rules on grounds than they do now. On the old rules, that would be an issue. Yeah, oh yeah, because of the. But the thing is though, you think that like if there is issues with the ground, then something would happen with Bournemouth as well because they don't have a particularly great ground either. Southampton replacing Sells with Russell Martin will be interested for their championship season. Russell Martin, very overrated. I can't lie, I don't know much about Russell Martin. I'm not really going to comment. On paper, yes, should struggle. I'm going to say, like, to be honest, like, I'm going to say this, like, I know a lot of people might disagree, but I think both Luton and Coventry, I don't think they'll stay up. I don't even think Sheffield United will stay up. I don't think either team is good enough to stay up. Burnley is a 50-50 for me. Burnley's got a good championship side, but they've got a lot of inexperienced Premier League players, so they'll need, I'd say, some more backing there because they've lost their Premier League experience to other Premier League clubs like Tarkowski. They lost Dwight McNeil, so you look at like they've still got some great players, and some of them are loanies. So I think even Burnley could potentially go down, which I think it would be a shame. But I just think this championship season is very hard because something tells me that neither of the three are too good enough to be in this, be in the Premier, to stay up in the Premier League for next season. But they're more than happy to prove me wrong because they could potentially prove me wrong. Russell Martin can't organise his defence to save his life, or Butland. I don't think it'll be a good appointment. Should have stuck with Stells. But Mays has ball knowledge more than most Sky Sports journalists. You keep spitting stats and facts from all leagues. Thank you to Lumber. You're very, very kind. GGMU from Hassan. Love that Hassan VAR box as a Man United fan. Big up to yourself. Who is injured for Man United and what is the injury? There's a few injuries for Man United. Tommy Eaton's got an ankle injury. Phil Jones, knee injury. Rashford's got a leg injury. Sabitzer's got a knee injury. Martinez has broke his foot and Donny's got a knee injury. They're the ones who are out at the moment. City on Madrid form, we got no chance, however, no guarantee that it goes that way. Exactly. As I always say, a final is always 50-50. Am I confident we will beat City in the FA Cup final? No. But I'd say if we lose and we give that 100% effort, I'll be still proud of the team. If we lose and we lost in a disgusting way, I'd be fuming. But City is a very, very tough side to crack. Maisy, how fit is Rashford? I think Andrew done a bit of a joke here. But Rashford should probably be back for the next game. He was only ill. Mays, do you think United would have the season you had? I did predict Man United to actually finish fifth, and I did predict the Europa League win. So they did disappoint me in that way, but we got a Carabao Cup. We got a trophy, which I'm glad that, even if it is the Carabao Cup, I am happy with a cup. Getting into the top four is great because that's not something I expected. So yeah, I think Man United has done better than what I thought. Anyway, not as fit as Valverde. Ooh, a bit hot in here now we mentioned Valverde. Considering it being a local derby in the final, I don't expect it to be high scoring. Rashford doesn't hit Valverde's knee for a fit scale. Ooh. Burnley, I'd wanted to stay up. Tough place to go to the Turf Moor. I think if Burnley was to stay up, it would be the Turf Moor that will, like, the home ground that will keep them up. In my personal opinion. Forest 1-0. Ooh, I like that. Go on, Forest. I bet it was Brennan Johnson who scored, or that number 9. I can't remember what his number 9's called because he's been scoring a few goals recently. Amazing. Love your knowledge. It's always a joy. Thank you so much, Ravi. It really means a lot. How long will it take to recover for an injury? It depends what injury, Sean. It is very injury. It is very hard to say. Rashford will be back. Should be back next game. Donny's out for the rest of the season. A broken foot, as you know, will take a while to recover. Martinez is out for the rest of the season. Sabitz is out for the rest of the season. So we definitely got 3 players out for the rest of the season. Phil Jones won't be playing anyway. So apart from Rashford and Tommy Ewan, everyone else is ruled out for the rest. Depends on the exactly. Donny has a special injury. It's called not quality that. Not even gonna lie though. Bloody Donny's injury is called bone eye donors. Yeah. He is quite good. He's been doing well this season, hasn't he? Arsenal should be winning. Morgan Gibbs White. You know what? Morgan Gibbs White for me has actually been Nottingham Forest's best player this season. I think he has been spectacular. He has been a threat to against a lot of teams. Iwona. Yes, that's that number 9, isn't it? Yeah. So, we will do the ratings now for the players. So if I get that up. Okay. So we'll do my ratings for the game for the players today. Also put your ratings into of what you do rate each player. So I'll start with De Gea. So everyone get their De Gea ratings in. I'm actually gonna give De Gea. You know what? De Gea was absolutely superb. He made some fantastic, crucial saves today. He was pretty quiet in the first half, but that second half, I think he was great. He was really, really good. I'm gonna give De Gea a 7.5 today. I think De Gea was really, really good for me. Tualumba's gone for a 7. He's not worth all that Josh Gibbs White, but he's a good player. Reese, Google Morgan Gibbs White's Why do we have to Google Morgan Gibbs White's girlfriend? I'm having. I know what you mean. Okay. Fair enough, Andrew. Fair enough. Well, we never know yet. Daz has gone for a 9 for De Gea. Reese gone for 8. Effective saves, we need that. Andrew has gone for a 9. Do it, Maze. Lol. You know what? I'm going to be a bit more generous. Maybe a 7.5 might have been a bit hasty. I'm going to bump it up to an 8. I think he did have a really good performance. So we'll go on to Aaron Wan-Bissaka next. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, I think he was very underrated with the work he had done. I think he was more attacking minded today than defensive minded. Not that I have a problem with that, because I do think Wan-Bissaka still played a very good role today. He didn't really have too much defensive duties to do, but bear in mind, I don't think much attacking play from Bournemouth actually came from Wan-Bissaka. I'm actually going to give Wan-Bissaka a 7.5, just because I do think he had a really, really good game today again. And I think he's been one of the most improved players for the Manchester United side. Who the hell he's banging, man? Zoe's gone Lindelof man of the match. Twilumber's gone for a 7. Andrew's gone for Wan-Bissaka's 7.5 out of 10. And Daz has gone for a 6.5. So we'll go now on to Varane. Varane, again, he had a really, really good performance. There were several times in the game for me where Varane, he was very, very quick, so he managed to get the ball quicker than what the defence actually done. With him and Lindelof, I feel like for me that the way they both played and complemented each other, it did lead to Haya not having too much to do in the game. Very quick, very effective, interceptions great, did do many tackles, but there wasn't no need to do any tackles either. I think he done an absolute shift in. It doesn't look like he even has actually ever been injured. I'm gonna give Varane an 8.5, just because I do think that Varane was a tiny bit better than De Gea today. Twilumber's gone for an 8. Andrew's gone Varane 8 out of 10. Sean, Maisy, I've actually got the description, got it in the description. Sean, so if you are wanting to donate, you can donate till the end of the season. Till the end of the month. So you can do that if you are wanting to donate. Ravi's gone for 8 for Varane. Andrew, Varane is a class act. Oh, he is absolutely mint, Varane. You know what? He's lovely on and off the pitch. I'm still buzzing. I got a Varane video. I'm still buzzing my head off from it. But he is world class, Varane. And from what I've been reading with Varane as well, he said he'd only retire at 2 clubs, Man United and his first ever club Lens. So that's really good that he wants to commit his future at Manchester United. So we'll go as well now onto the next player, which I know a lot of people have been rated very, very highly today. Victor Lindelof. Lindelof, what can I say? What a man, Victor Lindelof. That second half, Lindelof was brilliant. You know what? I know Lisiandro's been injured. I know Lisiandro's injured. Maguire's a waste of space. But you know what? Lindelof has done really, really good this season. He's been there when Ten Hag has needed him today. He didn't allow much time there for Bournemouth. He was quick. He was effective. He made a really, really good tackle to allow Bournemouth a corner in that second half. I think for me, he was very, very calm on the ball. There was not much at all for me what I could say Lindelof did wrong. I don't think he done anything wrong. And you know what? I know people are going to rate him highly. I'm going to give him a 9.5. I actually think he was near enough a 10 out of 10 performance for me. He was perfect. Near enough perfect. Sean's gone for 8 for Varane. Twilumber's got 8.5 for Lindelof, man of the match. Andrew's got 9 out of 10 for Lindelof, man of the match. Reese has gone Varane 8, Lindelof 9, my man of the match. Reese, Lindelof deserves all the respect he get for the disrespect he got last year. I don't think he got any disrespect last year. It was more like the year before we started getting the disrespect, because I actually think he was our best defender last year under the Ralph Rangnick era. So I think it was more the disrespect he was getting under Ollie for me. So that I'd say 2 seasons ago he got the disrespect. So we'll go now on to Luke Shaw. I do think for me that Luke Shaw was actually probably our worst defender today. He was more going forward than he was defensively. He didn't offer much for me. Most of where Bournemouth did attack today was mostly on the left-hand side in in Shaw's area, and I do think for me that Lindelof covered for Shaw quite a lot. This is the problem with Luke Shaw. I quite like Luke Shaw, but because he goes so far forward, he does. I just think for me is that a centre back at time to time needs to cover for him because he's not always quick enough to come back. But I know Andrew said he's injured in the warm up, so if that's the case, maybe it is critical me saying about him being a bit slow today. But I do think that's definitely still. I think he's been our worst defender in the last couple of matches, to be fair, which is a bit of a shame. I'm gonna give him a 6.5. I don't really want to rate him any higher than that, just because I don't think he was a green performance. There was nothing really much more. I think Luke Shaw was quite non-existent today. Reece, one thing he done really well when Bournemouth went wide and he tracked players. Yes, he may have turned him down, but he stepped off them, allowed them to come, and they struggled. Rather, Maisy, big up on the stream, loving your work. Thank you very, very much, Rather. What did you think about the subs? I think right subs, right times for me, Sean. To our number 7 for sure. Andrew, what a difference it makes playing alongside Varane rather than Maguire. He looks very, very calm when he's next to Varane. But to be fair, would you feel comfortable being next to Maguire? And it's mad to think, over 2 seasons ago, we said Harry Maguire was our best centre back, and we was like, I remember that Europa League final in 2020, the COVID season one, and we was worried because Harry Maguire was injured. We had to use Harry Bailly, Lindelof, and Bailly got a lot of stick. Shaw injured in the warm-up and struggled 7. Reece, Shaw 5. He was doing too many back passes today, and we went forward. He didn't anticipate passes correctly. His thoughts on the league this season, very, very competitive. A lot of underdogs at Brighton, Villa, Brentford have done very well. So I know a lot of people are saying City are making the Premier League into a farmers league. And to be honest, the Premier League has been very, very exciting. League more competitive this season, and bigger clubs are being exposed for their lack of planning. Chelsea and Liverpool, big examples. The worst aspect of Maguire is how he affects others. Absolutely. Who would you give man of the match to? We will see at the end, Sean. Lindelof Liverpool not crying like bitches. We knew our season was done a long time when we didn't turn up the grade well in the right area. So how can we progress when we do that? Yeah, it's been a very good season this season, absolutely. And I was worried about this season being the World Cup season. But we'll go into Christian Eriksen. Christian Eriksen, I actually don't think he'd put a step wrong today. He was very effective with his passing. He'd done a lovely cross into the box for Casemiro to make it the only goal in the game. I think for me, he was great at bringing the ball forward. I think he did do a Skyer ball. His crosses were pretty good. But I think for me, he'd done all the, how you'd like to say, the dirty work. And he was quite not recognised. I'm gonna give Christian Eriksen, just because I do think it was one of his better games today. I'm gonna give Christian Eriksen the same rating as Wan-Bissaka, a 7.5. He's done his job and he's done it well. Reece, only other league that's been exciting in as the Premier League is Serie A. Rather 6. Eriksen done enough. 12 Lumber done 6. Andrew, Eriksen 7, quite ineffective. Reece, Ericsson 7.5, completely controlled the midfield beside Casemiro and always looked for a forward pass. So we'll do Casemiro now. Casemiro got the only goal in the game. He broke up quite a lot of play into the game as well. Defensively, I think he works very well with Lindelof and Varane. He was all over. I think for me that Casemiro is looking a little more confident. He's gotten his tackles back in again today, which is great. Always love to see Casemiro, as always. So I think Casemiro was very, very good again in the game. I'm gonna give Casemiro an 8.5. I think that was probably his best game in for quite a while since that second red card. It was a fantastic goal. If, for instance, the goal of the season wasn't there, I think he would have been up for that goal he done. It's a bit like Edison Cavani when he done that halfway goal against Fulham. It wasn't considered because of when he scored it, but I think he was very good. He done everything. He done all his duties, and then he done a bit more to help the team out. And I think this is what I think that Ten Hag has said to him is, if you do your defensive duties in the defensive midfield role, you can do whatever else. And I think this is what Casemiro's doing. You're seeing what Casemiro's all about, because you're seeing, like at Real Madrid, he was quite underrated with Kroos and Modric there, and he was quite, how you could say, he was very limited because he couldn't really bring the ball forward with them there. But I think knowing that he has got this role now at Man United is a lot more free flowing. Andrew's got an 8 out of 10 for Casemiro. Beautiful finish. Looks to be coming back on form. Twilumber's gone for a 10. Maisy, Ericsson was steady, did what he needed to do. Reece, Casemiro, say he scored 7.5. Twilumber, Casemiro 10. Casemiro 8 was great to get the ball involved. So what I'm going to do, because I don't think no forward players were good enough to be player of the match, I'm going to actually leave it to you to decide who should be player of the match. So I'll do a poll, and I'll put Casemiro, Lindelof, Varane, and De Gea. So I'll let everyone decide who you want to be your player of the match, and whatever rating it is, by the time we do get to after the final player, we will do the rating. So I'm gonna go now into Jadon Sancho. I think Sancho was very, very quiet. He didn't offer anything. He was quite timid to take on a player. He did some nice runs, but apart from that, he didn't do anything else for me. We've did nothing much to say about Varane. I mean, for Sancho. You know, this is the worrying thing. Sancho, yet again, out of the players who played, he was actually still the best attacking player. Oh, out of the wingers in the fall and Martial, he was still better than Anthony and Anthony. Shocking to see. You know what? Sancho 5. Bang average. Not good enough. Reece, Lindelof for me, but either is deserved. Sean, United have to win the last 2 games now. To our number 4 for Sancho. Andrew, Sancho 5 out of 10 rubbish. Sancho meh 5. Sancho needs to be sold. Sick of seeing him as a winger. Sancho 2, not good enough. Needs to book his ideas up. So we're gonna go into Bruno Fernandes now. I actually think this is. I love Bruno Fernandes to death. Like, this was actually Bruno Fernandes' worst game for me today. I think it was crap. I could name 3 different times where he put our 1-goal lead in jeopardy, but that's when you do look at the forward player should be doing a little bit more there as well. His passing wasn't great. I think he is playing more as a team player, but I just feel like he seemed very flat. And it's really a shame to say, but even so, he still managed to bring the ball a bit forward as well. I'm going to give him the same rating as Sancho, a 5. Just because, yet again, I don't think he was good enough. Andrew Bruno had a poor game, 5 out of 10. Twile number 6. Worst game in months, 5. He did more slips than chances created. Sean, yep, 5. So I'll do Anthony now. Anthony, he missed quite a few sitters. Well, I can name 2 sitters. Very greedy on the ball. He offered nothing going forward. He done a couple of good runs, but he's just very, very greedy. He offered nothing for us, and I don't think he should have been playing that full 90 minutes. He was actually the second worst winger, the second worst attacking player. Only Martial done worse. I'm gonna give Anthony a 3.5. He was nowhere near good enough for me. I know people might think it's going to be biases coming out here when I say this, but I just don't think he was good enough in the game. I genuinely can't think of anything what Anthony offered us today. Apart from a little bit of tracking back, apart from that, he offered nothing else for me. Andrew, Anthony, sorry for you had a nightmare. 4, Reese, 5.5. Anthony kept looking up and still misses that are clear and obvious. Agreed, I'd have taken him off early as well. 12 before, rather, Anthony 3, and that's being generous. So we'll finish off with Fartiel. Again, he was shocking. The way he reacted because he came off the pitch was disgusting. He needs to leave Manchester United. He's had too many seasons. He's not done good enough. And we had high expectations. When he had the ball and he shot it right into the Bournemouth defence. He was hopeless. He was shocking. He had no effort. He had no care. He did not press. 2. So they're my ratings for De Gea, a Shaw 6.5, Lindelof 9.5, Varane 8.5, Wan-Bissaka 7.5, Casemiro 8.5, Eriksen 7.5, Sancho 5, Bruno 5, Anthony 3.5, and Martial 2. So we'll see what other people have said. Andrew's gone for Martial, Fartiel, I'm going to say 4, again, no effort. Although I'm thinking he needs to do more, I'm just annoyed our wingers were looking to do work together with the midfield. To our number 5, Reese Martial, his soul says it all 0. Andrew Fartiel and Sancho needs to go. Andrew 4 for me. To our number laughing at Fartiel. Lou man, big up to you. Hope you're well. Thanks for coming in. Andrew Garnacho is light years better than Sancho. Absolutely. If anything, I think he's better than Sancho at the moment. Lou man, Fartiel and Sancho are the Pogba 2.0 and 3.0. That's very good to. I actually probably agree at this point. So at this moment in time, come on, people. We've literally got Casemiro and Casemiro and Lindelof, who's joint on first place. Can we? Come on, people. Let's get the vote in. One of them needs to win. We can't literally have both of them there with the same scoreline. Like someone's they. Come on, people. Get one more vote in. Either for Lindelof or Casemiro. We can't do 2 players of the matches. It's not going to be possible. Maisy, quick thoughts on the way Erik Ten Hag gets his players to press. I think the press is very effective in the modern day Premier League era. It allows to break up the play and bring the ball forward. It allows less chances to be created. Last season, we only had 2 players pressing of Cavani, Bruno, and Fred. But this season, seen a lot more pressing, and I think it's very, very effective to do when it does come to playing in the Premier League. Still joint. Can you do more than? No, you can't even do more than one person here, which is a shame. I'm just gonna end it then, because I don't think I'm gonna get it. So I've seen more people saying Lindelof be player of the match, so that's who we'll give the player of the match to. Give it to Lindelof. Why not? He deserves it. So with that, I will wrap it up. Thank you all who's watching. Hit that like, subscribe button, share the stream. I will see you all Monday for the Chelsea preview. So take care, everyone. Bye-bye.